What's up, Golden Fam, and welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another video, an episode of the Wind Down. So, as we know, in the Wind Downs, I gotta go ahead and get me a little glass of wine real quick. And today, I'm doing a sweet red from Sutter Home. I like the wines; it's decent. I don't be doing too much. Yeah, let's get into it today. So, cheers. All right. So first things first. You can relax. So first things first, we have to get into today's topic. So the first thing I wanted to really get into today was healthy eating because I have had like a change of heart when it comes to healthy eating now. Don't get me wrong, I always thought healthy eating was good for you, but I always thought it was super difficult, and I kind of started my own journey that I've kind of been on for like a month, and it has changed the way my body receives food, like reacts to food, I should say, and has also changed the way it's also changed the way in which I feel on a day-to-day basis. So I've kind of switched to more of a veggie-based diet, but I said veggie-based diet. I still eat chicken, I still eat fish, but just not every day, nor even sometimes once a week because of the alternatives I found. And I've been watching Goodly, which is I think I could be wrong, an extension of BuzzFeed on YouTube. So, and also giving credit where credit's due, um, Tabitha Brown as well. So that's where I've got some of my recipes from. So I've kind of like have had an interesting experience with food, like as far as binging goes. Sometimes I would binge, overeat, and it's like I wasn't really hungry, but I was bored. It was something there, especially with COVID hitting. Like I started COVID out rather small, and I'll insert a picture here. And after COVID, I gained some weight, and there's nothing wrong with gaining weight. I just want to put that out there as a disclaimer. But for me to feel my full self and my most comfortable, it just wasn't where I wanted to be, knowing that I had um, previously been smaller, in my adult life. So I don't know. It's definitely taking this like toll away game, but also just like my eating habits more so because I wouldn't even say it's an overindulgence. It's more so like what I was eating on the scale of what I was eating. So like usually I would have for breakfast. I really wouldn't do breakfast because I'm always working. So that's just like I'm going with my work schedule like throughout the day. So I usually wouldn't eat breakfast. That was 9 times out of 10 like not in the cards for me because I was either late and then I get to work at 10. So it wasn't like really like by 10 o'clock if you ain't eating breakfast, it's about to be 12 soon. It's whatever for me. So I really wasn't pressing the issue. But now when it comes down to lunch, I was getting the 4 for 4 from Wendy's because it's cheap, it's quick, it's close, and you can't beat that price. You get four things for $4. But the problem was I was getting all this food when I'm still hungry. So here I go snacking and stuff like that. And of course it wasn't no healthy snacks. Like I definitely was it was given very much like candy sometimes, little tasty cakes and stuff like that, chips if I'm in the mood for it. And it wasn't really like conducive to myself. I always felt groggy, always felt tired, and I always didn't have enough energy to do stuff. So it was very much a love hate relationship that I had with food. So especially like during this time period. So I decided that at the beginning of the year I was going to have the body I wanted to have. Now I'm not saying this like I said before in my wind down talking about walking into 2021. I'm not claiming anything. I just know that I want certain things to be changed, and I'm gonna work as hard as I can to change them. And the first thing I really wanted to do was like healthy eating. And when I say well, I wanted to make changes to my body, I had the body I want. I wanted to have a like full life and full range with my body, and I feel like the food I was putting into my body, which would be like the source of energy I was putting into my body, just really wasn't conducive. It's like putting diesel gas in a regular engine. it's not gonna go. So I definitely started to take changes, like make little small changes. It didn't go like cold turkey overnight. Like I said, I've been in it for like a month and a half now, like a month and a half, because I started towards the end of January, and I've been meal prepping. I've been taking my lunch to work. So first, I started off with baked chicken. I would switch that up with different seasonings and stuff like that. Um, Baked chicken, and then I would do like a salad on the side, um, some type of greens or like peas, carrots, or something, and then some rice, brown rice. So that's like how I was meal prepping for my lunches, because that way I'm saving money, and I'm also making sure I'm eating something that's gonna fill me up. Because after I ate, every time I felt full, but I didn't feel bloated, and that was the key for me. And because I'm at work and you eat lunch, I'm there sometimes till close, so it's just like having to be there all that time, have downtime and stuff like that. You get bored and you want to snack and stuff like that. So I started getting healthier snacks. I got snap peas, and then I got almonds and cashews and stuff like that. So to like munch on throughout the day, and like I can honestly say it's definitely made a difference just in my overall energy, my overall health, and my overall like well being, like how I feel. It's not about like the weight loss necessarily, because that'll come, but it's like how I feel after I eat a meal. Like people be like, "Oh, I get so much energy from after I eat." I never felt that. I was always somebody that had the itis. I was groggy. I was tired. I did not feel like doing a lot after I ate, especially if I ate a large amount. So being as though like now that when I meal prep and stuff like that, or I cook my dinners at home, and it's like that definitely is a big difference. I eat and I do feel energetic. I do have the energy. I do feel like, damn, I just put something in my body and the machine's working. Like it definitely gave that. Um, the other thing I would say is I cut out a lot of sugary drinks. I cut out sodas, and I replaced them with like flavored seltzer water, which honestly is a good replacement, especially being as though my favorite soda is Sprite. So the flavored water just like tastes like Sprite to me. The lemon lime flavored water just tastes like Sprite with less sugar. So I'm into it. It works for me. Um, but like I said, I really just changed the way I felt. I felt like I'm getting better rest when I go to bed at night, and longer rest. Like I sleep through the night, which I wasn't having the best luck at before, because I think I do have insomnia. I'm not diagnosed, but it definitely gives very much. I can't sleep a lot of the time. Um, but I think that doesn't affect the ADD. I was diagnosed with ADD, so I think that might have something to do with that. But I definitely feel I see the change in that. Waking up in the morning, I do not feel groggy. This is the biggest thing. Waking up in the morning, I don't feel tired. Some mornings you have those mornings where you just don't want to get out of bed. You want to, keep hitting the snooze button, and that still happens. But more often than not, I do feel pretty like like
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
feel like you can move through the day with a little bit more energy, a little bit more pep in your step. But I will say that it's not like super easy to stay like committed, especially like I'll say that for me, I do have my days where I trip up and I feel like, you know, dang, like I didn't, stick to it, or I slipped up, or I ate some, meat or red meat for specifically, because I still eat white meat. I just don't eat red meat. But it's like I'll slip up and I'll be like, dang, that had this in it. I didn't know that. But my body will instantly feel it. But the important thing is to not beat yourself up about it. I remember Tabitha Brown, she said something really, really dreamily, it stuck with me. And basically what she said was, know your why. And when you know your why, you'll stick with it more often. And my why was to just feel better and feel healthier. So now that I know my why, it is easier to stick with it. Because once you feel those changes to your body, and you feel that like kind of weight lifted off of you from having processed foods and foods that aren't necessarily made for the human body. Like for milk, for example, like I don't do cow's milk, but I was still doing like yogurt bowls in the morning for my breakfast before I switched over to smoothies. And like now I do like a sea moss with like spinach, bananas, strawberry, and mango. But before I was doing like, yogurt and granola, which is still a healthy option, but for me, it was definitely more so the dairy and the lactose aspect. It just wasn't doing good for my body because it's a whole nother species milk. So it's like if women were to go breastfeed pigs, like it does not make sense for humans to be drinking cow's milk when you think about it in retrospect. So that's why a lot of humans more often than not have this intolerance to lactose because it's not something we should be ingesting like that on a regular basis. So I have had those, changes and instances, and like kind of like epiphanies. But I urge you to just try it for like a week or two and see how you feel personally. It's not necessarily about weight loss, like I said before. It's more so about how your body feels making those changes to your diet and knowing what really works for you and not necessarily like the social norms of everybody else. Because I feel like sometimes when people think you have to, if you're going vegan or you're going to be vegetarian, like you have to stick with it and you can't slip up and like you're not human. So it's just like, I feel like sometimes it can be a bit judgy in this space of choosing to be a bit more healthy. And I feel like once you take the judgmental aspect out and you take away everybody else's ideas of what you should be doing for your body, it makes it much easier to focus in. Because I will say it has been hard for me being as though everybody else in my house doesn't eat the same way I do, so I buy my own groceries and I cook my own meals. But it is harder because you see people enjoying things that you really, really love. Like my uncle cooked big macaroni and cheese the other day and I was just like, yikes. Like, it definitely isn't an overnight process. It's definitely not an overnight process by far. So just take your time with it and try to really enjoy the process, enjoy the journey and seeing the changes. And don't make it about a specific goal, just make it about the journey. Not necessarily destination, it's the journey, right? So, and it's not a competition with anybody else. So you take your time on it and what works for yourself. But I do feel like it's harder to be in some areas than not, because I will say like the area I live in my county is considered like the black side of town. And with that being said, like different things have gone away, like things are being programs are being defunded or there's not enough interest, right? So I went to McDonald's the other day because I was about to slip up and I was just like, what's on the way? I'll grab a salad. And they told me, oh, there's no salads on the menu. Due to COVID, they've taken the most unpopular items off the menu to save time in the factory. I was like, what? I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do like a chicken sandwich. Oh, we don't have those either anymore. What do y'all have as like a healthier option for people who do want to be healthier? It's like, I know you don't go to McDonald's for the healthy food, but at the same time, if that's all you have in your pocket and that's what you can afford, that's where you're gonna go. And if those options aren't available to you, what are you gonna get? And that's what you're left with. So I feel like we need to spread knowledge and intelligence about food health to each other in our community, because it's not something that's really taught. And it's not, and I feel like when we have these conversations, it's based around weight gain. I want to get the conversation steered away from that and necessarily what the outside looks like, but more importantly what the inside of your body looks like. How do you feel when you eat food and the relationship that people in our community have to food, because that's more important. And I feel like sometimes when we have these conversations about healthy eating, there's an undertone of fat phobia, and I kind of want to take that away for a second and just really talk about feeling healthy and being healthy without it having to do with your outward appearance. Because a lot of people feel as if, oh, well, you're big, you must eat terribly. Oh, this is your last resort. Like, I see a lot of shows. I've been on YouTube lately, and My 600 Pound Life came up. I clicked on it, and I just thought about it. I was like, this is the epitome of what fat phobia is in the United States. Like, we'll look at other people's body, put them on television for others' amusement. And so I see shows like this all over YouTube that from the UK and Canada, where they just basically exploit bigger bodies and are like, you're so unhealthy, you need to change, this is wrong. And not necessarily knowing more so about what goes in the body and what is going in, like what's going on inside your body versus how do you look? How does that make other people feel? Is it making other people feel comfortable or not? And I feel like that's the conversation to get into. We don't need to really be having that conversation. It needs to be about healthier eating and how does food make you feel. Because at the end of the day, you can be big and still eat healthy. Like Lizzo is a big girl and she states it, but she's a vegan. So it's not about how she's eating. Some people actually have thyroid issues and have genetic situations, or they actually have things that make them gain weight. So it's just like, I feel like sometimes science can be skewed to be extremely fat phobic. So it's getting away from that and more so about having a healthy relationship with food in general, and more so about what's going to be healthier for you, because what's readily available in a lot of communities, especially like in black and brown communities, is we're in food deserts. So the closest thing is the corner store, or a chain gas station. You can go and grab something that's processed, and that's not going to be the best for you, and that's what everybody in that vicinity usually eats because that's what's right there. And it's not the best choice for a lot of us. So it's just like, what can we do to educate ourselves on what's going to be better for us? So that's, my little spiel on that. I feel like once you make those changes for yourself and not anybody else, you really have an easier time sticking to it. Because for me, it is hard, but I want to keep going because it makes me feel better. And I know that some days I have slipped up. I had McDonald's and my body felt like a train hit it, like a bus hit me overnight, and my joints were hurting, and you could feel that my body was inflamed. I was producing more mucus, like everything was turned up on 10 on the pain scale. And I know when I don't eat like that, I don't feel like that. So that was just a little bit of peace, because a lot of ways we can save ourselves from being on medications and stuff like that is diet. A lot of it ties into what you eat. And when I say diet, I don't necessarily mean like a regimented diet, like you should diet as the verb. I mean diet as in adjective, right? I went to school. As an adjective, I guess. I'm really like, what does that mean? Like, what is your diet, consist of? What are you putting in? Is it more like, hydrogenated oils and saturated fats and stuff like that? Or is it more healthier fats? Because you got like fats from, avocados and omega-3s. Like, are you getting your vitamins? I know some people don't do multivitamins, but if you get the amount of greens and nutrition that you're supposed to get in one day, you get the vitamins from the food that you eat. But we're not educated. A lot of us aren't educated on that. And it's just a lot of Americans in general aren't educated on that. So we kind of steered away from that. But I feel like with people being in their homes due to COVID, it's easier. Because I know for me, like when I wasn't working, it would have been a lot easier. I wasn't doing it at the time, but knowing my schedule now, I did take some time off of work, and I could feel the difference instantly, because I took that week and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this in the morning, I'm gonna do this at lunch, and I'm gonna do this for dinner. And it was a whole day like easy for me to do it, because I had more time available to do the things that I needed to do and get done. So it was definitely like a plus. So like I said, I just urge you guys to try it, do it for yourselves, do some research into it. But yeah, that's just like my little takeaway, like what I've been doing. I want to eat better, so I'm doing it. Like I said back in my walking in the 2021 video, that I'm not gonna really talk about things that I want to do. I'm just gonna try to execute them, because I feel like if I waste too much time talking, then I'm not gonna get it done. So I'm not wasting any more time discussing minuscule subjects. I'm just gonna do it, and I'm just gonna show you how it turned out. Welcome me down the journey. But other than that, there it is. So yeah, I'm all out for this week, guys, but I will be back next week with another video. Oh, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I forgot to say it. By the time you guys see this video, it will be March the 17th, so it'll be St. Patrick's Day. Have a great day, guys. Be safe, double mask up. Don't be out at no bars or parties. Don't be getting too lit. Be careful out there, you feel me? So, peace out.